of Southwest Missouri for details.
KY3 News on the Ozarks CW starts now.
Hi there. First on this Wednesday night, we're getting our first taste of winter weather.
Some flurries and a little bit of drizzle, freezing, that could lead to some slick spots. Chief Meteorologist Ron Hurst joins us now from the First Alert Center. Ron?
Boy, as you can see behind you guys, that is a nasty, nasty night across the Ozarks, that is for sure. Again, First Alert remains in effect for tonight, mainly for our northern counties. By this, I mean north of I-44. A little bit of light freezing drizzle is possible. Also, maybe a little light snow coming up a little later on. And again, the threat level to all of this really is just at a moderate level. Mainly, we're thinking bridges, overpasses, say your back deck, things like that. Anything that's elevated may get a little bit of accumulation of ice. Let's get a look at the radar picture. We're still seeing lots of drizzle around the area, and I'll tell you what, it's pretty thick out there. In fact, drizzle is a very hard particle to kind of pick up in the atmosphere. Seeing maybe a little bit of light rain across some of our northwestern counties up around Osceola, and there may be a spot or two elsewhere across the Ozarks, like over here in Shannon County. I want to widen out so I can show you this area of snow that's been falling from Topeka down towards Wichita. However, watch the time lapse and notice that the snow is kind of thinning out just a little bit. I think that trend will continue as the storm lifts across the plains. Also, I think it's going to maybe go like this. So this really is going to impact more of our northwestern counties than really the heart of the Ozarks here. All right, let's take a look at Futurecast because it's holding on to a much wider area of moisture. Again, a lot of this is drizzle. A lot of this is going to be like freezing drizzle, maybe just a few snowflakes. And you can kind of see how it's working its way into the area a little bit later on tonight. Thing is, it's not going to last very long, so by about 4 o'clock in the morning, it'll be over with. We will start off with some morning cloud cover, but I think we're going to have some pretty rapid clearing as we go through the day, and by the afternoon, I think we're going to be looking at very, very nice conditions. As far as our morning commute is concerned, the moisture will be over by then, but the cold air will be coming in. There's also going to be some pretty strong winds, so our wind chills will be down in the upper teens, so you'll have to bundle up. And even at 8 o'clock in the morning, that temperature may still fall another degree or so. Lisa?
Ron, thank you. With temperatures dropping below freezing tonight and tomorrow, one local church is hoping to provide a warm space. The Connecting Grounds Church, which is not licensed as a shelter, is instead hosting an all-night movie night on Halloween, complete with snacks and warm drinks. There won't be any beds to sleep on, but anyone looking to get out of the cold will be allowed to sleep on the pews. 2 other Springfield churches are licensed to open their doors in the winter as cold shelters for the homeless, but they cannot open until November 1st, according to rules set by the Ozarks Alliance to End Homelessness.
The Boone County, Arkansas Sheriff's Department is investigating the death of a 13-year-old girl as a homicide. The Valley Springs student was found dead inside a house in Olvie Township early Tuesday morning. According to the sheriff's office, it was believed her death was a homicide based on evidence there, but investigators have yet to say exactly how she was killed or who may have killed the teen. In a statement, the Valley Springs superintendent says the district's priority is students, and a crisis team is being made available to students now.
Springfield police are investigating the case of a stolen vehicle from Missouri State University. Take a close look at the screen. University officials released these pictures of possible suspects. The vehicle was first reported stolen last week by a student. It had been parked in a lot just east of Juanita K. Hammond's Hall. And then yesterday, another student reported a vehicle had been broken into as well, and it looked like someone had tried to steal it from Bear Park North. According to the second student, someone had tampered with the vehicle's ignition. Marijuana now legal in Missouri for medicinal purposes only after voters approved it last year.
But following and applying the law is becoming difficult, not only for patients, but also for law enforcement. Francis Watson is here tonight with a closer look at the challenges the new law brings.
Yeah, voters approved the medical use of pot a year ago. This document, dozens of pages long, was published July 1st by Missouri Secretary of State John Ashcroft. Now, it establishes the rules on how marijuana should be used and the protections it affords patients when it comes to the law, though it's complicated.
The law is very convoluted.
This is 32 pages right here of emergency rules. And guess what? Even I don't know everything.
Earlier this week, we told you about the traffic stop Julie Garapi was involved in. She's a medical marijuana patient who was the passenger in the vehicle.
Article 14, page 16, section 5 says that patients can legally possess their 4-ounce limit now.
Her medical marijuana was confiscated by a Greene County deputy.
What we're trying to do with our agency is be as open as possible, because people have misconstrued what the law really means. And that's why we're being lenient with it. As in this case, we didn't issue a citation or make an arrest. Deputy would have been well within his authority to do that.
I sat down with Greene County Sheriff Jim Arnott to take a closer look at Julie's situation and how the law applies.
There was marijuana wax, which is illegal, still illegal today, that this person possessed. And even if they grew it at home with a cultivation card, it'd be illegal for them to make it into a wax, because that specifically in Article 14 says you cannot do that.
According to the report provided by the sheriff, the driver of the car Julie was in told deputies he smoked the wax about 12 hours before the stop.
Because you have a medical marijuana card does not mean that you can share it with the individual in the car.
This is why, he says, Julie's user and cultivation cards were not considered by law enforcement. The deputy took her pot products and issued a warning.
Before you wind up in jail, you better read the statutes, and instead of trying to show a deputy what the statutes are, you better know them yourself.
Now, Sheriff Jim Arnott is part of a statewide panel that is working to establish firm laws for medical pot use. Those are going to change again January 1st. In fact, there was an amendment posted just today on facility licensing and certification procedures. If you want to check all this information out for yourself, look for this story on our website. You'll find a link to the Department of Health and Senior Services medical marijuana page. Lisa, Ethan.
Thanks, Francis. The Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services is calling a report that the department's director tracked menstrual cycles of Planned Parenthood patients false. According to the department, the information was obtained by state regulators to identify a failed abortion case not reported by Planned Parenthood. In a news release, the state says the health director had not even seen the spreadsheet with that data until his deposition this month. Hearings are being held this week to determine if Missouri's only abortion clinic can keep its license. A decision is not expected on that before February at the earliest. And until then, the clinic remains open.
More than 200 Missouri bridges are about to be repaired or replaced as part of Governor Parson's transportation program. Even though it's not part of a highly traveled interstate, the governor says the bridge that crosses the Minnow Brook Creek in Camdenton right there is among the priorities. That's because the bridge is one of the main entrances to Ha Ha Tonka State Park, which brings in hundreds of thousands of visitors every year. Its deck will have to be replaced at an estimated cost of nearly $500,000, and that work is expected to start next summer. If you plan on getting a flu shot this year, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommends getting it by tomorrow.
There have already been 19 cases of the flu reported in Greene County this flu season. First cases showed up last month. Kara Strickland joined us live from the newsroom with why health experts are urging the vaccine and the financial impact that comes with catching the flu bug.
An expert with the health department says it takes 2 weeks after you get that vaccine before you're actually immune to the flu, and waiting too long could cost you a trip to the doctor.
Now is the time to get your flu shot because we know that it's in Greene County. We're not seeing a lot of activity yet, but we know it's already here.
Greene County epidemiologist Kendra Finley says if you're seeing a quick onset of body aches, fever, headache, congestion, and sore throat, you may have the flu.
If you catch flu symptoms within the first 2 days, you can go to your doctor and get an antiviral medication, which will shorten the length of influenza.
But how much is that doctor's visit going to cost you?
The walk-in clinics usually average around $75 for those people that don't have health coverage. But if you do have health coverage, it's usually just your doctor visit copay, so somewhere between $10 to maybe $25.
And if you choose to go to urgent care
is going to be more expensive. So again, if you don't have health coverage, I mean, it's probably a minimum of a couple $100, and I would say it could go up from there depending on the tests that they run.
Finley says if you miss the 2-day window,
your antiviral might not do much good.
Regardless, you're probably still going to have to take some time off of work.
You really should be at home resting, getting plenty of fluids for about 5 days.
If you're looking to avoid the extra costs, Finley says getting your flu shot now could help.
It's early to see numbers, so again, now's the time to get out there and get your flu shot before there are more cases. Now's the time before the holidays when you're traveling to see family. Get protected so that you're not spreading it to others.
If you're not sure where to go to get your flu shot, the CDC does have a vaccine finder on its website. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Kara Strickland.
And Ozarks business destroyed by fire.
We have reaction to the loss of the Dairy Shack in Eminence.
Number 1 in the Ozarks. You're watching KY3 News at 9 on the Ozarks CW with Lisa Rose, Ethan Voorhees, First Alert Weather with meteorologist Ron Hurst, and Sports with Chad Klein. The place to be.